Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a word called integrity. Now, you're probably thinking, I know the definition, but how many of us have seen integrity in action lately? It's a great word, but I haven't seen many people walk in integrity. Now, I hate to say it, but you know, our politicians don't walk in integrity. They actually have no clue what the word means. But what we have in Scripture is some real solid definitions and examples of integrity. And actually, we're told to walk in integrity. Paul says something in 2 Corinthians chapter 13 that's very interesting. He says, examine yourself, test yourself. He said, and know yourself. And throughout that, he's talking about integrity, his own integrity, and how he examines himself constantly. He tests his integrity, and he knows that he walks in integrity. So now, what is the definition of integrity? Right? Webster's Dictionary calls integrity as something that is decisions or actions, behavior that is based on a moral principle of honesty and uprightness. Now, I want to add something to it, because if I would ask you if you're have integrity, right? If you're a man or woman of integrity, you would absolutely say yes. But to add to that definition, and if you read other definitions in other dictionaries, there's a word that's missing. The word is consistent. In other words, that you live by, walk in consistent honesty, truth, and uprightness. Or consistently live by moral principles. And when we talk about moral principles, we really talk about the difference between good and evil, right? Making that decision based on good, not based on evil. What's right? It's not necessarily doing things right, but it's always doing the right thing. And you're consistently doing the right thing. Now let me give you the difference, right? Because everybody says, well, what's the difference between doing things right? Doing things right is more of a perfectionist. Perfectionists, and they could be rank sinners, right? Totally ungodly people, but they always do things right, right? They're perfectionists. Everything is in its right place. You know, they dot every I, cross every T. But do they consistently do the right thing? In other words, like, and I'll give you an example. I'll use church. Church starts at 10 a.m. And if you're a worker in church, right, you're supposed to be here, at least in our church, an hour early, about 9 a.m., just to prep and get ready. Now, here is a lack of integrity. When you call me at 9:59 and say, hey, I won't be in church today. And you know, your excuse is, well, I called you before church started. And listen, there's always one-offs, right? As something happens, you get stuck in traffic, you go outside to get in your car, it breaks down. I get it. But if you consistently call at 9:59 or consistently call at 9:55, if you have a consistent track record, then you lack integrity. Because integrity means you will always do the right thing consistently. In other words, I can always trust you because I know you're faithful. I know you're honest. I know you walk uprightly. I know you'll always pick good over evil. I know you'll always pick what's good for others rather than yourself. Because a lot of people say, well, I'm going to do what's right for me. That's not integrity. Integrity is doing what's right in God's eyes. Let me give you some scriptures here real quick. In Psalm 26, David says this, verse 1, he says, vindicate me, O Lord. I have walked in my integrity. He says, and I have trusted in the Lord without wavering. Watch this. He says, examine me, test me, O Lord, and try me. You know what? I can imagine how many Christians, adult Christians, are still in kindergarten in terms of Christianity. because they've been tested and they have failed in integrity. Now you're probably saying, well, I pass in faith and I pass in this. Yeah, but if you don't pass in integrity, it encompasses everything else. If you don't have integrity, don't talk to me about your faith. Because integrity is your heart. When I say integrity, it's a heart issue. It's your honesty. It's your trustworthiness. It's your faithfulness. It's you walking uprightly before God. That's integrity, and it's consistently walking in that integrity. Hey, don't you wish our politicians would walk in integrity? You know, if they say something, they mean it, and they stick to it. Watch this. In Psalm 15, look what it says here. I love this verse. It says this, O Lord, who may abide in thy tent? Verse 1. Who may dwell in thy holy hill? Who walks with integrity and speaks truth in his heart and does not slander with his tongue, nor does evil to his neighbor, nor does take up a reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a reprobate is despised, but who honors those who fear the Lord. Watch this. But swears to his own hurt and does not change. Well, what does that mean? That means if I gave you my word, I'm going to stick to it even though it puts me out. Even though I have to sacrifice my time, my money, even though I have to do something that I don't want to do, it's my own hurt. I said I'm going to do it, so I'm going to stick to it. Why? Because I spoke my word. And if I said something, my word means something to me. That's integrity. So if your word means something to you and you make a promise, you stick to it even though it hurts you. Even though it's going to mess up your schedule, even though it's going to mess up your bank account, even though it's going to mess you up. But integrity means I am consistently going to abide by my word because I consistently abide by his word. Man, I wish we had people of integrity these days. You know, people come in and out of church. You know, Pastor, I'm going to be here for you. Gone the next day. Don't see him again. Thank God Jesus walked in integrity. And when he said he'd die for us, he really did. He just wasn't saying words. Jesus actually showed us action. And he hung on the cross and died for each and every one of us. He was consistent right to the end. I pray that you too be consistent right to the end. Be a man or woman of your word. Live in integrity. Listen, the world needs integrity these days. God bless you. Hope to see you soon.